So I've been monitoring very closely the conversation around the compensation review. We're talking about Workers' Week, so it's a relevant and pertinent topic, yes, to discuss. And I've seen comments where people are saying they are worse off. I have seen comments that say the process is unfair. I have seen comments which would suggest that after the review, the entire public sector is earning less than they earned before. I have seen a few comments far and few in between, which suggests that persons are happy. I see one comment that said, well, I've never seen so much money in my bank account as what I would have gotten from the back pay. I have seen one policeman, and obviously he wouldn't want to be known, said, well, I'm very happy. No matter what you hear them say, I'm very happy. And I've seen other comments which are supportive. Whenever a government takes on these major reforms, you will not be able at first go to satisfy everyone. Whenever there is change, you're going to have some people who perceive themselves as losers and some people who perceive themselves as winners. In matters of salary, nobody's going to say they're a winner. Even if they won, people are going to be quiet, and those who perceive themselves as not getting what they wanted, they're going to be vocal. The challenge with that is it drives a narrative which is not complete. So someone who is not in the public sector, someone who is not part of this review, hearing only one aspect of the story will form the opinion that somehow the government just cut people pay. I mean, the fact is that before the review, our wage to GDP was somewhere in the region of about 9.5%. Now, it's about 11.5%. So it has increased. That means the government is not just budgeting, but paying out more cash to people. The wage bill has increased by, over $100 billion more. So where did that money go? I mean, it's going into the workers' pockets. So yes, many persons have benefited. The structure of the increase is meant to increase wage levels generally. The people who were getting the lowest pay, they are the ones who got so far the biggest increases. People at the top have also gotten sizable increases, and there are concerns about what is happening in the middle. So I want to disabuse the public view that somehow, as a result of the compensation review, everybody's getting less. That is not true. And there is more money going into public sector wages than before. And those are two absolutely, uncontestable facts. I needed to say that to balance the negative and untruth and unfair narrative that is being created about an exercise which every government wanted to do, but none of them would have done it. We didn't originate the idea of a compensation review. This was always being discussed because the previous system of compensation became a cacophony of confusion. It disincentivized productivity and entrenched unfair wage relative compensation. The unions always wanted a review. Governments previously have talked about the review. And the review became necessary because governments couldn't increase salaries, so they relied on something called allowance. And so allowances were used as a palliative. Now, let's look at another part of this compensation review. Before you had numerous scales, something like over 200 scales. Now, which system can work with 300 scales, different scales? And the problem is the scales are very narrow in terms of scope of progress within them. And sometimes they overlap, so you don't know which scale you really fall into. A confusion. Now we have worked it down to about 16. That's my last recollection. And these 16s, I believe, 16 scales have about 13 points in them. My understanding is that about 50% of the public sector would probably fall in scales 1 to 6, which means that your possibility for progressing up the scale, meaning getting greater salaries as you progress through your career. The challenge that we are facing is that most people in the public service now believe that because the major entities have settled, that the process is at an end. And that's it. Whatever anomalies that exist, they're going to have to suffer with that. That is not the case. The compensation review has to be ongoing. It is not just a 1-year or 2-year exercise, something that we have to have systems in place, even after settlement, to ensure that the anomalies are addressed. A process will be engaged for that. So I say to people, before becoming purveyors of negative, before trying to create a negative perspective on the entire system, think. And I say to the general populace, before consuming misinformation, think. The information is there. Research it if you will. But not everything you hear is true.